Well, welcome to Terry TV. I'm always so glad that you're here and that you're stopping by to see some of the amazing people that I have got to connect with and that I'm bringing to you. This next guest is someone who is doing something so meaningful on the planet and really making a big difference for others on the planet. And as you get to listen to this interview, I really want you to think about what's happening in the world today and what it is that you need to know that you can take away from this interview, because it will make a difference for you. So my guest today is Sam Mack. And Sam Mack is a leading diversity and inclusion consultant. And if you're going, what does that mean? Don't worry. We're going to get real deep and real clear really quickly. She knows how to get businesses up and running. And she also knows the challenges of actually leading a diverse team while doing what you want to do, which is making your profits grow. So welcome to Terry TV, Sam Mack.
I am so excited to be here, Terry.
I'm excited to have you. So I'm going to first start with, what does diversity and inclusion consultant mean? What are people going to go, oh, now I get what she does?
So, the world is getting smaller, and we have people that maybe do not understand our cultural differences or even male and female communication differences that can cause misunderstandings in business. So what I do is I give people new perspectives on how to communicate with people so that their message is received and they get better results.
And that's so important. And obviously we all need that in business. And there's so much diversity. I mean, to me, it's the beauty of the planet is human existence.
Totally.
Right? We're different sizes, we're different shapes, we have different spiritual beliefs, we're different colors, we have different cultural upbringing, we have parents that taught us different things and clergy, etc. So I think this is so important. What would you tell a business owner about how they should even manage initial expectations? Or where do they begin?
So I think, people start a business and it's kind of like starting a relationship. You have this honeymoon phase where we believe everything's going to go great and we're in love with our new business. We have this great new passion. We're going to really make a difference. But with most businesses, things take a lot longer and cost a lot more than usually the owner thinks. And so there you get this really amazing honeymoon phase, and then you get a disappointment phase. And just understand that those phases are coming, and how you work through them is what's critical.
That's really important. I always say this. I say business is very cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
Even I'm looking at my own consulting business, which is in its 22nd year, which seems hard for me to believe. It feels like I just started it yesterday. But there's times when it's like, oh my goodness, there's just so many people and so much activity, and you're up here, and then for whatever reason, all of a sudden it's a little bit down, and then it goes back up. And I always tell people, see what you think about this. It's like riding a wave, and you just stay with it, and that's how it works. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. There's ups and downs, and that's why it's just important to know how are you going to behave in the down times, because that's what's going to make or break your business. It's very easy to be upbeat and positive and have great ideas when there's money coming in and clients coming in. But when that doesn't happen, so many people get discouraged and walk away when that's the time to really build a business.
And I agree with you. I remember in the early days of my first business, speech-language pathology, I really didn't know what I was doing in business. Nobody taught me what to do, right? And it was really difficult. And I remember some family member saying, why don't you just close it up and get a job? It's costing you so much money. And I was like, no, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I've got to figure this out. My expression you've heard me say is find a way or make a way. And I just kept at it. And lucky thing that I did, pretty soon doctors started to refer, the business got booming. And if I just gave up, I wouldn't have been able to help and serve all of the people that actually needed the services.
It's totally true. And Terry, what would have happened is you would have found the next bright, shiny object, started another business, come to the exact same junction in the road,
Yep.
and then taken the path. And I've seen so many people, they have this, new tool out now called Facebook, and they quit one business and then they're in the next business and they're all gung-ho, and then they quit that business. And I'm like, it's not the business, it's you. It's how you're handling your disappointments and expectations.
Exactly. I just saw this actually on Facebook. There's somebody that I knew who sold a direct sales product that I used to really like. So I contacted her and said, hey, I'd like to get some of that. She said, oh, I don't do that anymore. I do bloppity blop, right? And about a month after, I saw a lot of people talking about bloppity blop. So I said, hey, how's that going for you? She goes, oh, I don't do that anymore. Now I'm like, oh, she is chasing something. And we do have to take time and look at ourselves and say, is it the business? Is it me? And we have to have some stick-to-itness, yes?
Absolutely. It's like anything else. The first time my son played soccer, he got pushed around. It was uncomfortable. He couldn't kick the ball. But I took him to practice the next time. We just kept going. And you don't become a U.S. Olympic soccer player in kindergarten. It takes time. Same thing with a business. People are expecting Olympic results after a year or two, and that's not how it works.
That's perfect. What's your favorite tool for a business owner? Would you share?
So what I think the best thing a business owner can do is get a mentor. Have someone that has had a business before and already knows what the tough times are going to be. Because when you have a mentor, and just even if it's someone to say, I understand what you're saying, or I understand what you're going through, makes such a big difference. And so I always had someone that I could, call, and sometimes I just needed a shoulder to cry on. And your family's not always that person. So to have a mentor that had gone through the disappointments and show me how to navigate them.
I agree with you. I've been lucky and really fortunate. I've had mentors since my first business. Even when I literally didn't have money to invest, I invested. And just yesterday, it's so coincidental we're talking about this. One of my mentors, who you hear me talk about all the time, Joel Bauer, somebody came to me and wanted to do a joint venture with me. And I said, let me see if my mentor's ever heard of the person. And he called me instantaneously and he said, don't do it. I know 6 or 7 people that have had problems, and this isn't a good thing. And you do your own thing like you always do. I would have gone down the wrong path, probably would have spent a lot of time and a lot of money, and actually lost some money, and maybe even hurt my reputation. So mentors, like me, we have mentors. I really think, right? Mentors have mentors. Every business owner needs a mentor. I know Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, they have mentors. Dr. Joe Batale has a mentor. Joe Bauer has a mentor. I mean, I don't know anybody who's successful without a mentor.
And so, Terry, the analogy I use with my team is it's kind of like you take your kid to a soccer field and there's no coach, and you just say, hey, kick around the ball and mommy will be back in an hour and I'll pick you up and we'll see what you got. You wouldn't put your kid on a team without a coach, and you wouldn't put your kid on a team with a bad coach. But somehow we feel like as adults, we should have this stuff figured out. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mentors, because there were so many times I wanted to quit. And there were so many times I was justified in quitting, but I needed to be pulled up.
I love it. I love it. What's your favorite part about being an entrepreneur? What do you love?
I think this the personal development and the total time freedom. So to become the person that you need to be to live your dream life. And I think having your own business is the best way to do that, because you learn all the life lessons you need to become the best person you can be. I did not have the emotional management skills I had when I was starting a business that I have now. And I am so grateful, because it has impacted the way I've raised my kids. It's impacted my personal life, and it's impacted the way I set goals. And had I not done this business, I would have had a good life. I had a degree. I had a master's in science and electrical engineering. I would have had a good life. I would not have had this great of a life with this much freedom.
And that's the same for me. I was an entrepreneur with several different businesses, and then my mistake was I went to corporate America. I spent several years.
You have to go to corporate America.
Right? I think that's where we really get schooled.
Yes.
it's kind of interesting because I start as an entrepreneur, then I go to corporate. And it was like, what is this? What do you mean somebody wants me to be somewhere at a set time and they're going to tell me how much I can do of X, Y, Z? So I didn't fit in very well because I was so entrepreneurial. Yet I made the company a lot of money and increased productivity and morale, and there was less turnover, all these great things. And then I realized that for me, it is about freedom. It is about having a great life. I know a lot of people talk about the laptop lifestyle. I don't even want a laptop. I want freedom. I don't want to be tied to a laptop. I want to literally be able to just go to the beach or go in the mountains or go wherever I want, or just be at home and be fully present and engaged with my family or my spiritual practice or whatever. So do you see the difference between laptop lifestyle, which has become a big word, and freedom?
Uh, I think what the biggest thing is, it's a values. What do we value? And so we're trying to define what we value. And what we really value is being present and being free, I think. And so I don't think it matters where you do it. The issue is with a lot of corporations, and I worked for 3 of them, that I had a values conflict, and I didn't realize that I was having a values conflict when I was told, hey, you're getting on a plane at 5 o'clock tonight, or hey, you've got to work late, or your performance this year was just not up to par. And I was like, I sold my soul for my performance this year. So it's not about the freedom or the laptop or where you do it. It's being able to live what we really value. And some of the systems out there and some of the things that we're being taught actually violate our values, and we're not having the time to have the intrinsic notice that we're not making our values, and that's why we're missing.
I just got goosebumps when you said that, and I don't think I really shared this before, so I will now. The day that I really decided to walk out, because I was carrying a resignation with me for like months, right? And I didn't resign.
Yeah.
I didn't resign. The day that I walked out was a day where we had just had a massive layoff of 1,200 workers. That's a lot of people.
Wow.
And I was just feeling horrible. I mean, I really cared about the employees of the company. And I was in a board meeting, and one of the people at the board meeting said, these people were so fortunate to be working for us, and they are really just out of luck now. And he laughed. And I was like, I got home at night upset about each of my workers. And I thought, there's so much contrast. I'm not supposed to be here. And that's when I really said, first thing in the morning, I can easily put in my letter. I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah, those are the events. I remember one of my first engineering positions, we were in cubicles. I couldn't even say I had an office. We had cubicles, so we could hear everyone else's conversation. And so at 30 years in the company, you got a great retirement program. So the trend was you lay people off at 29 or 29 and a half years. And I heard grown men my dad's age calling their wives and telling them that the whole nest egg and everything they'd planned for had gone away. And this one man, I sat next to him for 6 weeks because I was reading manuals till my clearance came. And his granddaughter had cancer. And so now he has no income and no retirement. And he's consoling his wife, we're going to take care of her. We're going to find a way. And then they would turn around and tell me, hey, you know what? If you work hard for 30 years, you'll get a retirement. And I'm like,
yeah, right.
Another 25 years to find out. No.
Exactly. Yeah, I my name for people who have a JOB, well, first of all, it stands for just over broke. But really my name for that is wage slave, because you are trading your time and trading your freedom, and someone's telling you when to work, when you can be home with your kids or go to their events, how many times you're allowed to be sick. They're really in control of you and your life much more than we think. They tell you if they want to give you any more money, any less money, if you're doing good, if you're doing bad, the hours you have to be someplace. I mean, when you really look at it, and we look at how many days we work and how many hours we work and how much we think about work, and our cell phones are ringing and emails are coming in. We don't have a lot of free time. And if we spend all of our waking hours working, we also don't know our checkout date on the planet. And I always remember this with my dad. He was working, and I said, Dad, when are you going to retire? And he said, oh, I'm never going to retire. And I said, why? And he said, because in the world, you have to just put your head down and keep working. And I went, wow, that's not what I believe. And I was really glad when his company went through a bit of turmoil and they finally said, we're just going to buy you out. And I thought, yes, I'm so glad now we have freedom to actually live his life.
Absolutely. And I think the other, there is a pull to a job, Terry, and that is that you don't have to think. Being an entrepreneur, there's a degree of self-discipline involved. And when you have a job, someone else is telling you when to show up. Someone is telling you what to do and how your performance is. And when you're an entrepreneur, it's all on you. So I do see people, kind of that go back to that lifestyle just because they're not ready to take responsibility for all those types of decisions. And my plea to a new business owner is just walk through the fire a few times, and it's so much better on the other side. The amount of self-confidence that you'll get, the amount of self-love you'll have, the amount of influence that you will acquire, it's worth the walk through the other side instead of going in, punching a clock, and being told what to do.
You're so right. It's so worth it. I've never looked back. I've never been happier. It's just amazing. So I want to get to one other thing. So if someone is a real newbie and they're saying, okay, what's something I really should know that's kind of the secret sauce, what would you tell them?
I would just say, everyone starts out at the beginning and you're at the beginning, and just believe in yourself, because there's going to be a point where you've walked through the fire, you've passed some tests, and you start to believe in yourself. And in the beginning, just have that belief. Act like you are the world's best CEO. Act like you are the most successful business owner in the world, because one day you'll actually believe it. One day you'll actually believe it. And even though that day is not at the beginning, just remember that, keep on the path. And there were so many times I had self-doubts starting a business when things weren't going wrong. It was like, is it me? Is it me? And now I realize the greatness was inside me all along. And just believe that part of it about yourself, that the greatness is inside of you. If someone has put a dream in your heart, if someone has shown you a path where you can serve this planet, take it.
Oh, I love that. That is some of the best advice that I've had on any of the episodes. It's just, I love it. I love it. So I really want to say, I remember, I can't exactly remember when, but I do remember one time I was filing a lot of papers, and it was taking hours, and I don't like filing. And I said to myself, kind of new in my consulting business, is this what Bill Gates is doing? And I said, no. And that day I made a decision that any task that wasn't an area of my brilliance or that I couldn't be highly compensated for, I was either going to dump it or I was going to delegate it. And even if, I say to new business owners, even if I don't have money to delegate it to someone, there's people that bartered with me in the beginning, virtual assistants, web designers, printers. So that is going back to the find a way or make a way. And I really do think it's important. Put yourself in that CEO space today. Just start thinking as if, I would always say, I'm Bill Gates. What's Bill Gates doing? I know he's not answering his own phone. I know he's not reading his own email. I know he's not filing his own papers. I know he's not the one on Twitter. And I literally imitated that model. And, that was starting out literally from the first couple of weeks of my business, where it's just building to create the kind of business success I've had. So thank you for sharing that advice. That reminded me of something I did.
Yeah, we're all always better when we work in our gift, and we've always been given a gift. So just stay within your gift, and everything else. I know it feels like you're spending a lot of money, but in the end, delegating will actually save you money.
It sure does.
Your sanity, it saves your time, and it allows you to get those great ideas that are going to actually move you forward instead of maybe filing papers
It's
later.
so true. I mean, if you're trying to grow your business and you're trying to do sales and marketing and human resources and web design and social media and the 50 million tasks, you really are not operating a business. So I always tell people start early. The first person that started with me the day I started was a virtual assistant. It's the first thing I did. I said, I've got to stop doing all the tasks and I've got to go build a business. So I let her do everything else. I built the business. And I really believe that's why I was so successful. That little bit of money that I invested ended up allowing me to make almost $500,000 instantly in my new business, brand new business, brand new business. It's a lot of money when you first start out. It's because I did invest in the VA.
Absolutely. Or just go to a college and get a marketing student and offer them a mentorship for free and show them, hey, this is how we run a business. They get real world experience and you get the latest and greatest technology guru helping you out.
That is just brilliant advice. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for all the great advice. And I also want to thank you for the work that you're doing. It's so important. I think cultural diversity is one of the biggest topics today. And in companies where it isn't, it needs to be. And you may be thinking, well, I'm going to run a small little business. Why do I need to know this? You do. Because the world is made up of all different kinds of people. You're going to have different prospects and different customers. And you're going to engage with different people when you're out networking, when you're hiring people, when you have vendors. And if you don't understand the culture they're coming from, you're absolutely not going to succeed in business. Any last words about that?
I think you hit the nail right on, Terry. We live in a social media world. And when I look at my social media groups, they're from everywhere. Different countries, different languages, different continents. And so it's important that the posts we put out and the messaging we put out appeals to everybody. So knowing a little bit about different cultures, being conscious about inclusion, actually making an effort to bring people in and include them makes a huge difference on how our business is perceived and the type of respect we get.
You're awesome. Thank you so much for being a guest here on Terry TV. You've created just so much value. I literally have goosebumps. Thank you so much for being with us today, Sam Mack.
Thank you, Terry. I enjoyed it.